Good evening. You are tuning into Awani Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. The Malaysian government supports the United States' proposal to end Israeli atrocities in Gaza, says Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. However, the Prime Minister also urged the US to take firm action against Israel's aggression against the Palestinians and pressure Israel to respect a ceasefire.
With regard to the proposal by President Joe Biden of the United States, together with Qatar and Egypt, we did discuss this issue this morning in the cabinet, and we do support that initiative by the three countries, and we feel it is a reasonable proposition to secure an immediate ceasefire and hopefully for permanent peace, including an amicable resolution to the decade-long conflict. But to my mind, and as far as the Malaysian government is concerned, this is probably the most firm position taken by the United States, and it should be at least supported by all parties. We also hope that America could use its influence to ensure that Israel respect that decision.
US President Joe Biden on May 31st presented a three-phase proposal, beginning with a 6-week ceasefire that includes a withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza and the return of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. A container bearing the logo of Israeli-based shipping company Zeem was refused entry into Malaysia after attempting to enter via Perlis. The Customs Department had detected the truck at the Malaysia-Thailand border and ordered it to turn around immediately. The container, which was carrying a cargo of frozen chicken, was detected around 12 p.m. on Sunday after passing through the Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security Complex in Padang Besar. Perlis Customs Director Ismail Hashim said a joint review with other government agencies confirmed that the container was banned from entering the country due to its connection with the Israeli company. The vehicle was ordered to return to the neighbouring country the same day. Commenting on the matter, Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the Transport Ministry was constantly monitoring to prevent any company under Zeem from accessing Malaysian ports. He noted that there have been instances of Zeem containers being leased to other companies for transport on their vessels. Despite this, Cabinet has decided that these containers will not be allowed to enter the country. Legal amendments to address the parallel pathway issue will be tabled in Parliament soon. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil says this will come after the Health and Higher Education Ministries present a memorandum to the Cabinet in 1 to 2 weeks' time.
Isu parallel pathway kita lihat akan dapat diatasi dengan nanti ada pembentangan satu round undang-undang yang akan dibawa ke Parlimen, dan untuk perincian mengenai aspek penyelesaian bagi masalah ataupun isu parallel pathway ini, saya minta rakan-rakan media untuk rujuk dengan sama ada Menteri Kesihatan ataupun Menteri Pendidikan Tinggi. Tapi kita telah capai satu keputusan yang baik dan insya-Allah akan dibawa ke Parlimen kelak.
Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad previously announced plans to amend the Medical Act after the MMC rejected the applications of 4 cardiothoracic surgery parallel pathway graduates to register under the National Register of Specialists. This was because their qualifications from the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh were not recognised by the MMC. Domestic consumers in Penang will not be charged for the first 10,000 litres of water each month for the next 6 months. Large households with a combined monthly income of less than 5,000 ringgit will also receive a rebate of 20 ringgit under the family-friendly rebate scheme.
State Infrastructure, Transport and Digital Committee Chairman Zairil Khair Johari said the Penang Water Supply Corp had been instructed to implement the rebates from July 1st. This follows the new domestic water tariffs, which were implemented in line with the National Water Services Commission's tariff adjustment in February. Although Penang has the second lowest tariffs in Malaysia, Zairil said many had still complained about the sharp increase from the previous tariff, which had not been adjusted for the first ban in 31 years. With the new rebates, he said all domestic users would enjoy a rebate of RM6.20 on each bill.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Seterusnya, peminjam Perbadanan Tabung Pendidikan Tinggi Nasional atau PTPTN digesa merebut peluang insentif diskaun bayaran balik pinjaman.
Fenomena Equinox menjadikan bumi dan matahari berada pada jarak paling dekat dalam sistem solar.
Malaysia berjaya membanteras jenayah berkaitan dadah bernilai RM990 juta sejak 2019.
Jangan meletakkan harapan tinggi berhubung soal mencari jawapan pesawat Malaysia Airlines MH370 yang hilang 10 tahun lepas.
At least 75 people have been killed in Israeli attacks on central Gaza in the last 24 hours. Survivors are being taken to the Al-Aqsa Hospital, the only functioning health facility in the area. But health officials say they are struggling to cope with the surge in casualties, with morgues overflowing.
Medical officials said the hospital was operating at 3 times its capacity. Israel announced that its ground forces had entered the Bureij refugee camp in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, while fighter jets and artillery were attacking targets in the area. The start of yesterday's incursion was the second ground assault on the refugee camp since December, when Israeli forces attempted to remove a Hamas battalion based in the area. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry has called for more fuel to be delivered to the north as medical teams return to work at the Indonesian hospital.
On World Environment Day, the UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, highlights that the war in Gaza Strip has caused catastrophic damage to the natural environment. It says restoring environmental services to Gaza will take decades and can only begin when a ceasefire is achieved. UNRWA said the natural environment was critical for Palestinians, providing water, clean air, food and livelihoods. In January, a study found that the carbon footprint from the first 2 months of Israel's assault on Gaza exceeded the annual emissions of 20 small countries. Researchers in the US and UK reported that the vast majority of the 281,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide estimated to have been generated in the first 60 days from October 7th was attributed to Israel's aerial bombardment and ground invasion. Half of the total emissions came from the US flying military supplies to Israel. It was also equivalent to burning at least 150 tons of coal, although researchers say the real climate cost may be much higher. Slovenia has become the latest European Union country to recognize a sovereign and independent Palestinian state. This is after its parliament approved the move with a majority vote of 52 out of 90 seats. The Slovenian government decided last week to recognize a Palestinian state as part of a wider effort to coordinate pressure on Israel to end its atrocities in Gaza. Tuesday's move makes Slovenia, currently a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, the 4th European country to make the decision in recent weeks after Spain, Norway and Ireland. Prime Minister Robert Golob said Slovenia's recognition of a Palestinian state sends hope to the Palestinian people in the West Bank and Gaza. Of the 27 members of the EU, Sweden, Cyprus, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Romania and Bulgaria have already recognized a Palestinian state. Malta has suggested it may follow soon. India's ruling alliance, led by the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), won a historic third consecutive term in office, but the party lost its parliamentary majority for the first time in a decade. Prime Minister Narendra Modi now faces the prospect of a coalition government that could slow down policy making. But the 73-year-old Modi insists that the election result ensures he will be able to continue with his agenda.
The BJP won 240 seats out of 543 seats in the lower house, according to India's National Election Commission. This is short of the 272 seats needed to form the next government and falls well below the 303 seats it scored in 2019 and 282 in 2014. Modi's own victory in his seat of Varanasi was also subdued, with a much smaller margin of over 150,000 votes compared to nearly 500,000 votes 5 years ago. His planned agenda includes land and labour market reforms, an overhaul of government administration and bureaucracy, and changes in trade and investment policies, among others. Now dependent on coalition partners, the BJP will have to seek consensus to push its policies through Parliament.
Banknotes featuring a portrait of King Charles III entered circulation in Britain today, almost 2 years after he succeeded the late Queen Elizabeth II as head of state. However, it may be some time before the notes are widely seen in wallets and purses.
Charles' image will appear on the new notes for 5, 10, 20 and 50 pounds issued by the Bank of England. The new Bank of England notes will gradually replace those that are damaged or will be issued when demand increases. The King is the only second monarch to appear on these notes, with Queen Elizabeth II first featuring in 1960. The design of the new notes was unveiled in December 2022, shortly after the coins featuring Charles entered circulation. Other than the new monarch's image, the design of the banknotes are unchanged.
As Malaysia intensifies its efforts to develop the electric vehicle EV industry, software-defined vehicles or SDVs are gaining traction in the global automotive sector. Reporting from the Red Hat Summit in Denver, Colorado, Farhana Sheikh explores the potential of SDVs in shaping the cars of the future.
Rapid technological advancement and the quest for customizable vehicles have propelled the rise of software-defined vehicles. Here at Red Hat Summit, we explore how SDVs are transforming the automotive sector, providing greater performance and better user experience.
Software-defined vehicles allow us to make the car better as time goes on. So the day that you take the car from delivery to 10 days later, your car gets better. From 10 to 100 days, it even gets better then. So we release new features as time goes on. We do bug fixes to make the user experience better. And overall, the customer experience gets better as time goes on. Because there's so much software in the car, we're able to make changes, make additions, subtractions when necessary to provide a better user experience. So your vehicle will always get better as time goes on.
Jeremy emphasized that when establishing the foundations of software-defined vehicles, having software development skills is more crucial than having a background in the automotive industry.
If you're a great software developer, you're coming out of school as a software developer, you have a certain set of skills that as long as we're adopting modern software development practices, make you be able to contribute from day one. If you are a C++ coder or a Java coder, you've got an opportunity now in automotive that maybe you didn't have before. You know, the sort of software mindset of continuous integration, continuous testing is something that we utilize every day, and so that set of skills is necessary in an EV company where it wasn't before all the time in traditional companies. The future is being able to diagnose issues before they're experienced by a customer and having a fix out there before the customer even knows that there's something there. There's lots of data analysis. The future is experiences where a vehicle could interact with a customer in the way that they are feeling or the way that they want to interact with the vehicle, and that could be very different from driver to driver. So the future of a software-defined vehicle is much more of a personal interaction than has ever been done before.
That wraps up Awani Tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching. Good night.